Hello there, I'm Blackbright, broadcasting out the UK into your homes. Welcome to my channel. First time you're passing through, if you don't know the drill, it's thumbs up if you like what I talk about. It's thumbs down if you don't. You can subscribe if you want to hear more of what I do or what I say. And you can share it with your friends and family if you think it might benefit them. Well, today I wanted to talk about the new court ruling. And the new court ruling has to do with the Home Office. Apparently, the Home Office have been very naughty again. I mean, I don't know how come the Home Office get away with... Anyway, let me start from the very beginning. It's always a very good place to start. Well, what's happened is that the Home Office has been using a very harsh test to determine whether or not foreign nationals should be entitled to a fee waiver. Now, the definition of whether or not they're entitled is that they need to be destitute. And what they've said is that unless, well, they haven't actually said that you need to be on the street, but that is the implication. A family of 5, the youngest child is 5, and it's a mother, a father, and 3 children. Now, for them, for them to extend their visas is going to cost them over £7,600 and something pounds, and they can't afford it. So what the Home Office has said is that, look, you're living in someone's house and the church is giving you food, so you're not destitute. That is what they are saying. I don't know if they're expecting them to call from Waterloo Bridge and say, look, excuse me, sir, I'm under Waterloo Bridge. I've got no money. I'm homeless. Can you sort out my immigration status for me? They're not going to give them a fee waiver in that kind of circumstance. They haven't even got an address. So what is their definition of destitute? I think it needs to be redefined. Anyway, the court ruled that destitute is to do with income. If their income shows that they can't afford to pay the visa application fee and the immigration health surcharge, they should not have to pay it. So the Home Office has been given permission to appeal. And yeah, you might say, so if they can't afford to pay it, what are they doing here? These are the people who are a burden on society, and they're a burden on our economy, and they're draining our resources. Yeah, you can say all of that, but everybody's in the same boat during this pandemic, and we are talking about what's been happening since the pandemic. Now, this has been happening actually for a while. How many have they refused? Between 2015 and June 2019, 24,370 people were refused permission for a fee waiver, and probably for the same reason. They're not on the street. They're not under Waterloo Bridge. Now, don't you think that is ridiculous? So the Home Office has been applying too harsh a test for immigrants to pay visa application fees and immigration health surcharge. The court has ruled that migrants should not have to pay if they can't afford to. Although the Home Office has granted a free 1-year extension to visas for 3,000 migrant health and social workers, they will be expected to resume payments thereafter, and that's at an increased fee of $624 from $400. A fee waiver is possible to applicants who can prove they are destitute, but impoverished migrants fall short of the high bar that is set by the Home Office. The Home Office should not have been applying the destitute, but they did not have income to pay. So apparently, the Home Office has been applying the destitution definition as a reason to reject any application for a fee waiver, as opposed to matching it against their income. Now, I guess it's a lot of work. If somebody says, look, I haven't got any income, that means the Home Office is going to have to check out their pay slips. They're going to have to check out their bank accounts. They're going to have to check out this, check out that. And I guess it's too much work. They can't be bothered. I think that is what the real deal is, because that probably takes a lot of work. But there again, if you think about it, for them to reject it because they're living, well, I guess it's easier to reject than it is to accept. I guess so, because if they say, oh, where are you living? And they say, oh, well, we're living in a house with some friends are keeping us a roof over our head, and the church supplements, that they can say, okay, you're not destitute. So it's easy for them to do that, as opposed to them saying, look, I haven't got any income. My income won't allow me to pay it. And then they have to start checking the income. So I'd imagine it is much more difficult, takes more time to try and verify that kind of information. And that's probably why they haven't been doing it. But thank God, anybody who's applying for a fee waiver now should be able to get it under this new ruling. Like I said, the Home Office can appeal. They're being given permission to appeal. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take it up. They weren't available for comment to The Guardian. The Guardian is who brought this to our attention. So I just think, common sense would tell you what destitute is, wouldn't it? I mean, and the thing is, why I'm saying that, you can't blame those people for not having the money now. Everybody's in the same boat. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are redundant. A lot of people have been furloughed. And if you're in that kind of vulnerable position, and on top of that, you have to find an immigration fee. Like I said, that family of 5, it was 7,600 and how much was it? 7,665. A family of 5 were expected to pay in visa fees and health charges. And what's happened is they are the ones that reported it. And that is why it's been found out. The Freedom of Information found out that 24,000 have been rejected, been refused permission, under the same grounds that they weren't under Waterloo Bridge. I mean, I'm saying under Waterloo Bridge. I'm probably being quite extreme, but it seems to me that that is how they're considered being impoverished, destitute, not having anything, not having no roof over your head, nothing. But the thing is, if you don't have nothing, how the hell are you going to apply for a fee waiver? Because I could imagine if they say, oh, you've got a phone, oh, well, you're not destitute then. Oh, you've got a laptop, oh, you're not destitute then. If you can afford a phone and a laptop, you're not destitute. So I can imagine them applying that criteria in those extreme cases. Anyway, I just thought I'd draw it to attention because I thought it was quite a bit of good news making a change, especially for foreign nationals who have been rejected in the past, who haven't got the money. And like I said, I can understand this is why, yeah, I do and I don't understand. But this is why Priti Patel and who have you are talking about they don't want low paid people in the country. They only want rich people in the country, and they only want people who are going to be investing in the country. And so they don't want people here who are going to be on fee waivers. Not only have you got immigrants in the country, but you've got immigrants who aren't even paying the surcharge and the visa application fees, which is what is keeping the Home Office above water, even though they've been overcharging for goodness knows how long, or they've been deemed to be overcharging. I shouldn't even say overcharging. I should be saying that they make an incredible profit on the immigration fees. So this will be the argument now, that you've got immigrants in the country, they can't afford to pay visa application fees. What the hell are they doing here then? My point in their defence, I can't defend those 2015 to 2019, but they got rejected anyway. But the ones during this crisis now, I think that should be, if they're being rejected during the pandemic, now I don't think that's fair. So I'm glad that the ruling has come out now, in the sense that it will give them peace of mind, which is what Priti Patel says she wants for them to have. But at the same token, I do understand their argument that you have people in the country who can't afford to pay their way, and therefore they are a drain on resources. And so this is why, this is probably number one, why they were rejected in the first place. But the problem with the Home Office is that they don't do things properly. Yes, we understand the premise. We understand that, yes, you're a burden on society. You're in the country. You've got the audacity to say you want a fee waiver. You want to stay here free of charge. When, this is the mentality, I would think. And so when they're saying that when they're saying that they're a burden in that sense, then you can understand why they're going to say, look, why should we accept it? If they can't afford to live in the country, why should we give them a fee waiver? But the problem is that they need to do it properly. They should have done it in the right way, because this is why the Home Office get themselves in trouble. They're trying to do things. Yes, they have the right logic, but they don't have common sense, because they're trying to say they're rejecting them because they're not impoverished enough. If they'd done it based on their income, which was the correct way to do it, they wouldn't have this backlog of people who may now be eligible to claim for a fee waiver. So they shoot themselves in the foot by not doing things properly. There are rules to follow, but what they do is they create their own rules and so stringent and no flexibility that they get themselves shot in the foot. Now, what do they end up with? Instead of having one person who they could have granted a fee waiver, they've got a whole family of 5 who now they're going to have to grant a fee waiver to. Whereas if they'd done it properly in the first place, you wouldn't have this situation. There should be something then, if they're that worried about people coming into the country and not being able to work. I mean, putting aside this pandemic, which affects everyone, there should be something in place that says, okay, if you're unable to work, you go back. Then the fee waiver wouldn't even come into play. That should be a part of the ILR or whatever it is they're applying for. If you're in the country and you lose your job and you can't afford to pay your way, well, we're sorry. This is a condition of you staying in the country, that you do have full employment, that you are able to look after your family and what have you. And if you can't, you have to leave. But then if you have something in place to say, if you're destitute, you can get a fee waiver, whose fault is that? You made the rules. We didn't. So therefore, if you've made that rule, therefore you have to abide by it. There's no point having the rule in place and then at your whim, you decide, okay, yeah, we've got this in place, but we're not going to follow that rule. There's no way they're going to stay here. You shouldn't have that rule there in the first place. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I'll be interested to know if anybody is going to go for the fee waiver again, or if anybody was rejected for the fee waiver and now they're going to apply again. I'd like to hear that. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.